This tutorial covers some more advanced Photoshop techniques that you may have seen me demonstrate in class, but I didn't describe. Like, for example, how to remove the shoulders and kind of like the shirt of my subject here and only be working with the bust. Or for that matter, how to work with sort of like a split face here, or like a two facial expressions. Even though these are more advanced Photoshop techniques, you basically have to go completely back to the beginning of your retouches. So we'll call this tutorial sort of a prequel to everything else that we'll be doing in Photoshop. The first one is going to involve the Quick Select tool. So I'm going to go to my photo layer here and do a Command J, duplicate, and the Quick Select tool may be hiding under one of your other tools here, but keyboard shortcut is W, and since the W may also take you to the magic wand, make sure that you click and hold on it and grab Quick Select. Basically what we're going to do is we're going to use our selection tool to get a hold of the shoulders here and just delete them away. Since we're working in such high contrast edits here, such as like the halftone or the key images here, it really won't matter if the selection isn't perfect. But the way that the Quick Select tool works is that it's going to seek high contrast areas. So when I click with the Quick Select tool, it's going to automatically find the high contrast area of shirt against background. Since this is a high contrast black and white image, I should be able to pretty easily kind of click and drag that Quick Select tool right along the edge of my subject here, and sure enough, it found the edges of the shirt, it found the edges of the shirt collar against his neck, and more or less works pretty well. I've got a couple of spots that I may want to tweak, like for example the shirt collar right along his neck here. Now because the Quick Select tool behaves like a brush, you can increase and decrease the size of that brush using the brackets and braces Quick Select tool, keyboard shortcut. Now I'm going to see if I can just kind of really carefully make a selection on here. Now that worked pretty well, but you see how it grabbed a little bit extra? Now that probably wouldn't matter much in the end because of the high contrast edits we're using, but just for the sake of demonstration, I can both add and remove with the Quick Select tool. It automatically defaults to a little plus sign or add, but if I hold Option, PC guys, that's Alt, I can use the Quick Select tool to simultaneously remove from a selection. So that can be kind of handy if you get a little bit crazy with your selections and grab too much. So for this demonstration, that looks like about right. Since I have the shirt selected here, I'm just going to tap the delete key, and it deleted it just fine. The only reason it looks like it's still there is because I have this background layer turned on. So I'll turn the background layer off, and there it goes. That layer is gone. So I'm going to do a Command D, deselect, and just to show you what I mean here, I will apply a halftone filter to this layer, and you'll see how all that space is gone. Actually, I'm going to delete away the white space while I'm at it, because that halftone layer, it turns this layer, turns that white space gray. So what if I just delete away that white space, Command D, delete, and go to that pixelate color halftone layer, 20 pixels. Now you can see how the shirt collar and the white space are just totally left out of all that selection. Everything else that we've done, everything else that you would do for this edit is basically exactly the same. But what about the slightly more complicated version of this sort of split multiple face image? Well, on the most basic level, you have to take two photographs, right? So we'll talk about, if we go into the studio, you would want two really distinct images for your subject, something that is under the same lighting conditions, but doesn't necessarily have to be even the same scale or same angle. Now, the way that I've got these two images stitched together is using a layer mask on the right-hand side. I'm going to delete that layer mask and just build it from scratch here. There we go, just delete that. Now in this case, I'm kind of thinking a dag and a line, just sort of slicing through the center of my subject here would sort of be good enough to split this. And so I'll start by just including pretty basic layer mask, and then I'll move to more advanced sort of customizing of it. At the bottom of my toolbar, I'm going to use the polygon tool and generate a triangle. So once I'm selected on the polygon tool, one click in the image will allow me to choose the number of sides for my triangle. I'm drawing a 3-sided triangle. Click OK, and I don't really want it over there, so I'll tap Delete. And now that I have control over that, I can click and drag that triangle out and put it anywhere I need it. I need to zoom out here so that I can actually see what I'm doing. I'll draw my triangle and just sort of have it slice diagonally through the image. It looks really huge right now, but you'll see why. Now, it's important for me to pause just for a second and come up to the options bar because I have a feeling that if you just start drawing polygons, it will probably default to shape instead of path. If you start drawing triangles as shapes, you see how they actually come in as new layers over here. That is not what we want. I'm going to Shift Command Z those. What you want to do is make sure that you're drawing in a path. Now once you have that path drawn, you should be able to just sort of get that path again kind of diagonally here. You should be able to just click Selection, or it says Make Selection right up there in the options bar. I don't really want to feather this at all, so I'll just click OK through that box. And now you'll see that fairly familiar sort of scrolling ants marquee. Now because my huge triangle had fallen completely outside of the previous image, I'm not really seeing the whole triangle. I'm only seeing where it's going to affect the photograph. Just like any other selection, if I am selected on the layer I want to affect here and click Add Layer Mask, down here it's the square with the circle in the middle, it'll automatically apply that triangle as a mask, or what looks like just sort of a diagonal line here. Now what is a mask exactly? Well, let me turn off this bottom layer and you'll see. The mask basically performs a cut on the image here. Now right now this layer mask is linked in the middle. I'm going to unlink it by clicking that small divide, and I'm going to use my Move tool, keyboard shortcut V, to demonstrate how this is going to work. That triangle that I drew is going to perform a variety of different cuts, and you can see how the layer mask is moving with me. It's dynamic, right? It's essentially behaving the same way that with our cut serial boxes, the imagery behind the open or negative space is revealed or concealed. Now if I turn the other image back on, you can see how it might conceal or reveal the other image that's behind it, which is a really handy way of sort of like editing the images really quickly. Now if I select on just one of the photographs, I can move that photograph around independently of the mask. Now I'm just kind of noticing this sort of funny alignment of the eyeglasses kind of coming together right in the middle. I think that could make for sort of a fun arrangement here. I could also move the other image around behind the other and do something like maybe align the hairlines instead. Or I could go to the layer mask itself and invert which half of the photographs are being revealed. If I'm selected on the mask, keyboard shortcut Command I inverts those two so that now it's black on one side, white on the other. So I can kind of shift that dividing line or grab each image individually. I kind of sort of liked how, this eyeglasses were sort of blending together. I'm just going to go with that for this demonstration. So that in and of itself could be good enough, and you could just run with the rest of the assignment. But since we're in here working with this layer mask, let's talk about how this layer mask can be customized. Now, generally in Photoshop, when you work with a brush, you might end up with something that looks a little bit like this. I'm going to switch to the brush, keyboard shortcut B, and start painting right in the image. Now, it behaves a little bit like sort of a can of spray paint or something like that. But inside of a layer mask, if I click the layer mask option over here and still work with the brush, and in this case I'm working with a soft edged brush, what's called a soft round. You can find that up here in your options bar. And my two brush options, my two brush colors are in solid black or solid white. I can do some custom modifying of that layer mask. In other words, if I'm painting in black, I'll be cutting the mask. If I switch that brush to white, I'll be repairing that mask, sort of hiding or revealing certain parts of each image. So say for example I wanted to maybe soften the effect of that hard diagonal line. I could sort of blend through one image and reveal it, We'll switch to black again, and the keyboard shortcut for switching between black and white here would be X. And then I'm closing down that part of the mask. And basically this switches from sort of like a photography lesson to a digital painting lesson. I'll come back down here to where the line is cutting through the shirts, and by switching back and forth between white and black in the mask, I can kind of choose which part of the shirt is coming through, or which neck is coming through. And if I'm careful, I can sort of make a fairly convincing digital painting of these two images where the top hairline looks like it's sort of flowing, and the the eyeglasses are obviously different, but then the neck flows into a shirt that starts to look more photographic again. That little bit of deception is fun. Okay, so I'm kind of adding a piece of another photograph, sometimes with a hard edge, and then sometimes with a very, very soft edge. I'm going to use the backslash key just to sort of reveal how that layer mask is affecting both images now. So essentially, backslash splashes red into the image where the layer mask is taking effect. So you can see the hard edge of the triangle cutting through the middle, and the soft edge of the soft brush working on the hairline in the shirt. From here, I would just start up with the standard Photoshop edits.